Are you one of the thousands of marketers who describes yourself as data-driven on your LinkedIn profile? For several years, that's been the label that describes marketers as modern and forward-looking. But have you thought about what comes next? I sat down with Neej Gore, Chief Data Officer at Zeta Global, at the Zeta Live event in New York City this fall, where we spent a few minutes looking past data-driven and into the future.
Hi, Mike. I'm Neej Gore. I'm Zeta's Chief Data Officer. I've been at the company about 8 years. I'm a serial entrepreneur with many MarTech companies under my belt historically, and I've been in the MarTech space for about 25 years, my entire career, really.
All right. So we are here at Zeta Live in New York, and earlier today I watched you give a presentation on the roadmap, some really great AI stuff, including your Athena AI platform. And you said something that really struck me. You said data-driven has become hindsight-driven. Mm-hmm. And two things went through my mind. One, there's probably 20,000 marketers on LinkedIn who have data-driven in their profile describing who they are and what they do.
Yes.
And number two, you are actually a good example of that because you just became a father. And there is couple decades of data on you. We think about all the ways that having children change our lives. A lot of that data is kind of irrelevant now because your life changed. And when you said hindsight, I was thinking about how our lives change and the data that's collected on us day one. At some point, it just doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, there's been an evolution. It's been really interesting. So if you look back even 20 years, it was all about how much data do you have. About 10 years ago, the world started to shift towards an intelligence model. So people started to say, how much intelligence can you synthesize? We think the next chapter is really going to be around answers, and we've been pioneering that at Zeta. So marketers, they've been working in a workflow where they have to move from data to execution with too many steps. So because of that, of course, you want to make decisions based on data. What you're really looking for is the easy button for marketing, to understand what should be done, to be proactively promoted with that information, and then have a way to put it into effect. So, I think that data-driven has been something that's dominated the last 25 years of marketing or so. I will say that the next iteration moves to answers. So from data-driven to answers-driven. And from there, we're going to get to an area with AI that's going to be much more oriented towards wisdom. And when I say wisdom, what I mean is a platform that can actually operate with you and on your behalf with your supervision, right? So anticipates what you're trying to do. It could even have empathy around the way that you like to work, and then putting all of that together into a model that really supports you as a marketer.
Yeah. Go back early 2025, late 2024. I'm talking to a bunch of MarTech vendors, and what they are all saying to me is data and AI, like it was a compound phrase, right? We're coming up on the end of 2025, and now everybody's talking about context.
Mm-hmm.
Explain context in that realm of data and AI, and
absolutely
why everybody made that shift towards the end of 2025.
So I think the most important thing to remember is that models are going to become commoditized over time. So my AI model might be good today. Your AI model might be good tomorrow. Mine might be good the day after. What is going to fuel these models to be very performant is what they can understand about you, and that's where context comes into the picture. So if you have context around an individual, if you help an enterprise not just understand the data within their four walls, but help them see data on an individual outside of their four walls, they can provide a much better experience. They can really reduce hallucinations. They can stick to ground truths. And by doing so, they're actually creating a flywheel for their business. They're moving from the idea of delivering better experiences, which will create more signal, which will add more context over time. And in my case, you're right. I had a life event not that long ago. And so there's certain things from my past which will continue, but this life event is now something that needs to be factored into my context as we move forward, right? Because it changes the way I operate.
You're not playing golf anymore.
I'm not playing golf. I'm more of a tennis player, but I'm still playing a lot of tennis. But I've found a way to, squeeze it in a manner that my wife still approves of.
That's great. What kind of challenges do you hear from Zeta's customers about their data? And twice a year, MarTech does surveys, the MarTech replacement survey, the State of Your Stack survey. the most consistent thing that we've seen in the results is the challenges are around data, and they're around data silos and data integration, which are kind of two sides of the same coin. But is that what you guys hear from
We hear a lot of that. I like this expression I've been using. Your MarTech stack is not a strategy, it's a tax. A lot of people went through the last 15 years thinking about how they're going to put together their stack. What they're actually looking for is not a stack. They're looking for a system. They're looking for a system to deliver efficient acquisition, growth, and retention. Now, the way that everyone was told how to do that was in the context of building a stack. But when you build a stack, you create lots of problems around integration, data movement, latency. So the whole architecture of how you've imagined marketing to work for acquire, grow, and retain is evolving. And you need to move away from that context of thinking of marketing as a stack and move way more closely to thinking of it as a system that you're trying to put in place.
All right. Has AI created a new sense of urgency around data within companies? You always needed data quality. You always needed data governance.
Yep.
But there wasn't the same urgency until people started talking about, you don't know what these agents are telling your customers.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. I think there's definitely an urgency around that. There's even something that's, I think, earlier than that's caused problems for enterprises. And that is that when they go online, they are basically seeing so much innovation happening. And even today at Zeta Live, we demonstrated so much innovation happening. When you go into the enterprise, you see the rate of adoption being very low, especially in enterprises that are trying to catch up. And in the space in the middle, what you are left with is panic. Where senior leadership and executive teams are telling marketing teams and just generally across companies, you need to be doing more with AI. We're not hiring anymore. What have you done with AI lately? I think 95% of POCs in AI have failed primarily because of that gap. The adoption and the innovation rate needs to be tied more closely together. And that's done by using tools like Athena, like you saw today on stage.
Yeah, we published data just in the last couple of weeks about how many companies are having trouble getting out of that pilot program, getting past the experimentation, and actually putting it to use.
Yep.
It's a widespread problem. So we talked about the term data-driven before. There's a couple of other terms that I think for years have been shoved in marketers' faces. There's the 360-degree view of the customer.
Sure.
There's the one-to-one personalization.
Yep.
Does all of this data and AI stuff get us closer to that, or are we aiming at the wrong star?
So interestingly, I was asked yesterday in one word how I describe the future of marketing. And the word that I chose to use was human. But I do believe in my heart of heart that AI is a catalyst to get us there. People want to feel when they're marketed to that the brand understands them. It understands their drivers. It understands their pain points. So there's no way for a team of humans to do this independently. You're going to need to rely on technology like AI to get there. But I think the end state of this is really that you can deliver very human-like experiences that resonate with people, that feel like they have empathy built into them, and they cause good outcomes for the brands that serve them. This is all coming. I'm a big proponent of this. I'm an AI believer, and I think it's going to be a huge accelerant for our entire industry.
All right. Neej Gore, Chief Data Officer at Zeta Global. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.